just going to pop into chat real quickly here. Alright. Make sure everything's going well with the stream. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Dan. What's up, Yanni? What's up, dude? Can you guys hear me good? I'm just waiting for confirmation, then we'll get going. Hey, 4-hour naps are great. Alright, you guys can't hear me. Alright, cool. Alright. So, it is PROG's time here. I'm going to export league to back it up. And I want to go to tools, multi-team mode, make sure all 50 teams auto sort. Here we go. Alright guys, it's PROGs. I am using ad blocker. I swear fealty to the dumb matter gods. Alright. So, in the comments section, guys, as per usual, you know how it is. A or Z? Let me know what we're going to do today. Let's see. Comments say A. We will start with A. Alright. Anaheim is up first, guys. Alright. So, they start out for the Walker and Morris going down. Fadjemison might have some more value this year. Their big three is probably going to get them into the playoffs. In terms of depth here, you know, these aren't bad progs for them per se. They're just very thin and going to be relying on two-way guys to have big roles on the team. They might even want to consider cutting Washington to pick up another guy. We'll see what they do there. Next up is Atlanta. So first up, they get a great prog by Robinson. Their front court is actually pretty solid. They're going to be better than they were last year, which was not great. And they do need to add some guards. I'm a big fan of Otis Jacks long-term, but probably not this year. Isaiah Ball will have a surprisingly big role for the team. Juwan John Kim might even see starter time potentially this season, which would be interesting. And we'll see if Max Powers does anything for them. That's a rough progs right there for Winemaker. I actually really like his build. Their guards are just so weak. I mean, if we look at purely guys that can play shooting guard and point guard on this team, you really got Jax, who had a bad prog, Kim, Hill, who's pretty old and hasn't had a big role for a couple seasons, Powers, who's ancient, literally 40 years old, BJ Armstrong, who had bad progs. Oh, this is going to be a rough backcourt. But their front court looks like it could be good for a while. All right, next up here, Beijing. Obviously moving on from Fleecer, unfortunately. So we got Mars Lewis going down. Other starters going down. But Greg Smith and Sarka, who Fleecer got hit pretty hard by Jay for picking Sarka, but he starts out with one of the best progs we've seen so far. TJ Kumar, last year's 6th man of the year, crashing. Brandon Baker also crashing pretty hard, and Theo Williams Jr. Wow, they lost a lot of their front court depth real quickly in progs here. Honestly, T-Mac's been such a bust on that contract for them. It's so tough to see them getting better than they were last year. I like the Parks addition. It's a good fit. I just don't see them being in the playoffs this year, I'm going to be honest. It's going to be another tough season, I think, for Beijing. Kind of stuck in mediocrity there. Alright, let's see what the comment sections say here. They say New York is going to suck. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it is very possible. Sarko going for 6th man of the year. That is also a possibility. Alright, next up, we move on to Belgrade here. They're a team that was just one great prog away from being a contender, and they just didn't get it. They're deep. They're very deep. They got cap room. But after their 8 dives deep, they got nothing, and they should go out there, make moves, acquire another star with that cap space they got, and they'll probably not be in the worst position. Yeah, we'll see what goes on there. I like the Russell Rogers pickup. I think he's a good fit with this team. They could use a real big center, though. All right, so next up we go to Bosnia here. I loved the addition of Chris Brakowski. He's probably one of the better contracts in the league now. Stephen Black Jr. with good progs. That's helpful for them. Miller Lewis and David Whitehead also progging good. That's not too bad right there. Jermaine O'Neal might save his career yet. He might save his career. Keep in mind, he expires at the end of the season, and through 2 seasons, he's played a total... This is a guy, a former top 5 pick. He's played a total of 30 games, averaging 1 point per game. We'll see if he can maybe save his career here. Of course, Ryan Bass progging up is pretty cool. I like that nickname. He's also a pretty small shooting guard. Honestly, for a team that's rebuilding completely, this is not bad progs at all. You got some nice young pieces. Lewis, Black, Bass progging nicely is good. Jermaine O'Neal saving his value is good. But, it's a rebuilding team. So, all right, next up here, Boston. Dowling gets his first prog up in what seems like forever. Mazin Higgins also progs up, though. He might be the first cap to get. He's going to get a minor hit on his OIQ here, progging at 80 here. Still progs up, though. And Eric Jackson with a big prog. Lucas Scott was a nice pickup, and him and Hoffer. Honestly, this might be a sneaker candidate of one of the better teams in the East. I don't think they were too bad the last few seasons at all. I actually was a big fan of their squad, despite not making the playoffs each time. I thought they had potential. They cut out Josh Jones, and the thing with Josh Jones is he was very inefficient, and they're replacing him by going with a third big man. They have 3 offensive-minded big men now. That's huge. They have quality defensive wings, a pass-first point guard, and some nice shooters on their bench. They're not in too bad a spot here. We'll see what they do. All right, Buenos Aires time. Ooh, Cottrell Ellis' contract is not looking too nice. Yeah, he's declined twice now in a row. That's rough. When they got him, he was like the 3rd highest overall in the league. Now he's mid-60s. Still could justify the contract, but they might want to look to move him before that contract is untradeable. George Gervin becomes a borderline superstar on a great deal. I was actually looking at this. 3 Georges were taken in a row, and he was probably the best of the 3. It was George McGinnis, George Gervin. Oh, no, Mikan's the best. Mikan's the best, but I think Gervin's going to end up being the best because Mikan's already on the way down in his career. Parrish goes up pretty big. That's huge for them. They have a solid duo. Their issue is depth here. I mean, they're really hampered by Greg Oden's contract here. They could look to trade it maybe. Tad McMillan goes down a lot. That's disappointing. I liked McMillan. I thought it was a good pick. I think he still has potential. Griffin Johnson's probably cuttable. George Gervin's going to put up... He might lead the league in scoring, no joke, this season. I mean, the dude is automatic from offense. So, yeah. All right. Cardiff time. Wow, they actually had good progs. All right. Roderick goes up big time. Henderson and Curry go up. That's a high-scoring trio right there. Charles Adams looks like he might be a future star. That's pretty exciting. Skyball going down, the potential's a little disappointing, but he probably will still start for us. I'll actually throw in my lineup here so you guys can give me your thoughts on it. Andre Curtis goes down, kind of cementing his role as just a role player. And Prince Smith, I'm going to real quickly change him over to a guard because this man might be 6'6", but he is no big man. All right, so let's see. Running the team to an extent here kind of gives me a little privileges there. I think that this is the lineup that they'll probably run with Grubb kind of as a 6th man. Maybe Skyball plays a little off the bench from time to time. We'll see. I think Roderick can play the small forward spot, so yeah. All right, anyway, moving on from Cardiff here. They got good progs. They're in a pretty good spot. Cedric Kendrick, oh wow, he actually had great progs. He's a defensive beast. At least that was his build. 78 DIQ, but he's now not horrible on offense. And in small spurts, he could be a really great defender. That's pretty cool. We'll see what goes on there. But so far, the best progs we've seen is Cardiff. Interesting. Carolina time. Patrick Sullivan continues his rise to stardom. He is developed as a borderline superstar for them, and he is just continuing. Once again, they're going small here, but Damian Fado is probably the biggest player they've had in a while. him and Eugene Mackey up front gives them a lot of passing flexibility. While Billups is declining, he does expire at the end of the year, and the team has a lot of cap room. They'll be able to pursue stars and keep their current team. They're probably a playoff team, and they're only going to get better with this cap situation. Meanwhile, Marcus Green finally crashing down at 37. Mike might have value this year. What? That's kind of crazy. He could actually be dangerous PER-wise because he's huge. He's in 100 with 100 jumping. Yeah, watch out for him. He now is one of probably the most valuable young big men in the league. And Gus Baker probably has one more quality year left after this. We'll see. And Swaginson's kind of in a similar place. All right, next up here, Charlotte. Wow. Gordon, MVP, Hayward. 100 from 3. Oh my God. This is the Gordon Hayward that Celtics fans wish they had. If this team doesn't make the playoffs, there's something seriously wrong here. I mean, they have 2 superstars, one who's like a legitimate MVP candidate, which is crazy. He might even be a higher overall than McGillen. We'll get to there. I don't know what overall McGillen is, but there is a chance if he had like a horrible prog, I think he'd have to go down 6. He'd be the same overall as Gordon Hayward. That's how close we could be here. Cameron Houston going up big. Comedic, they had good progs. Hunter's kind of the third star for them. I'm a big fan of Hunter, though I think I tried to get them to trade him a couple years ago. Foster was a nice addition. They're in a pretty good spot here. They got good progs off AV as well. And Mahone. You got to like that. They'll probably cut Doucet. All right. Chicago time. Pete Mahorn Jr. That contract pays off right away. They probably love to see that. Oh, yeah, I have to change that. Change that. God. Dallas, why did you trade Alex Hood? Look at him. They have probably one of the best backcourts in the league. Farmer probably wants to get the heck off that team. That man is going to be their third guard. Oh, Josh Gale, too, on the bench. Wow. And Harden. Oh, my God. This team is passing is insane. That Bodio's a pass-first big man. He has the passing badge. This team's passing is... I have never seen a team with so many good passers. Guillen's even not a bad passer, if I recall, right? Yeah, he's got... I guess 44 is kind of low, but... Wow. Even, I think Sal Matthews was a decent passer, right? 46. Wow. Has anyone ever seen such a good passing team before? Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen a team with this high ball movement. Like, everyone on this team is a phenomenal passer. Pete Mahone, 59. He's just one off from the passing badge. Farmer led the league, I think, in assists last season, right? Or he's close to it. No, he didn't lead the league, but he was close to it. 10.5. He averaged 11 2 years ago. Yeah. All right. Next up here, Cincinnati. So they were expected to be one of the contenders here. I see that they're not there. They have some guys to cut, remember. So they're going to have some interesting cap ramifications there. Vlad Prog's up big time, but we'll focus on the starters for a second here. King Price becoming a superstar. That's what they want to see. BB Kinney in a pretty okay spot. We'll see if either here is getting nerfed. Nope. They have a lot of depth here. This is not a normal Billy team. This team has a lot of depth. Brad Miller progs up pretty sizably, too. Yeah. Honestly, they're in a really good spot. Derry Young might be looking for a new team, though. Yeah, so we'll see. I can imagine Billy going on a bit of an axing spree, but he could actually free up almost $10 million in cap. We'll see what goes on there. And Splash Stewart going downhill. He might have been like an early career like freak. That's kind of weird. All right, Cleveland time. So obviously they go and get Isaiah. That's a big win, and I think that kind of puts them at the border of contention here. But they didn't get the progs that they were probably looking for. They got some good prospect progs, but when it comes to their stars and their starters, most of their role players progging down, and that includes King and it includes Lingard. King was probably the worst prog here, which might seem weird, but had he progged up, they would have had a really solid big man. Instead, he's kind of a borderline starter, and he's their only big man. He's offensive-minded, keep that in mind. So we'll see how that goes. Their defense up front could be slacking. Maybe because Holton, I like to view Holton as a small forward. But he's been playing a lot of power forward these last few years, so we'll see what happens with him. All right. Dallas. They traded Hood. Did it pay off? Well, their front court is, I'm not going to lie, pretty damn good. Spencer Smith isn't too bad at shooting guard. He's not great. Sebastian Telfair is solid, though he's overpaid. So I guess in that respect, they do actually have a playoff caliber team. Ben Wallace looks like he could be a defensive beast for them, and Jason Jeffrey was a pretty good pickup. Their guard situation is rough, though. So while they are a playoff team, they really could use a guard. They have some cap room. So I think this is a good chance for us to go look at who are the top guards in free agency, right? So let's start real quick off here. You got James Bostain. He's not a guard. They won't be going for him. A shooting guard, not necessarily what they should be going for here. Maybe Lloyd or Burns. Fabian McKnight, again, more of a small forward in my opinion. So I'd go for Omar Lawrence real quick if I was Dallas for sure. And taking a look here, Otis Brown could be a nice solid pickup. Darius Felt. Ooh, Demetrius Warner. If you're watching this, Dallas, put offer in on Demetrius Warner or Sean Vortex as well. Those guys could be quality point guards for you. So we'll see there. And taking a look at by potential, I don't see any point guards here, but there's definitely some good options. So anyway, Dallas, you have a chance to have probably won that Hood trade, and you could be in a decent spot here. So we'll see. All right, Denver. Jacob Gardner, probably the Rookie of the Year. Almost a lock for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. We'll see, but I think he's almost for a lock. Kevin Nando progging up as well is solid. We'll see if he violated any IQ caps. He didn't. Big and Chunky goes down. That's rough. Hopkins goes down as well. But the bench does prog up. DD's deep. But man, Progs were not a fan of this team's bench. Nope. They kind of zapped that hard. Wow, Troy Neptune might have had some of the worst progs I've ever seen. All right. We'll see how this pays off for DD. Oh, wow. Detroit gets hit pretty hard by progs here. They do have probably one of the best 1-2 duos I've seen in recent memory at the same age on the same contract. That's a solid duo right there. Like, one of the best potential long-term duos we've ever seen. In all honesty, I think that duo alone could win them a chip. I think that if I'm Hale, I build around them. Constantly. You do not blow this team up. You move any of the other pieces. I'd probably start Guillen, and I'd probably start Moon, and probably Antonio Williams or Jackson, one of those two. But I'd definitely start Guillen. I'd definitely start Guillen at the point. Makes a lot of sense. He's a near double-double guy. Go and get pieces. You just need to surround this duo. You don't have any horrible contracts. You probably have Guillen expiring in a few years. I guess Hammernail would even be the only real way to free up cap, but they don't need to do that. They have a lot of options. Pablo Mimic has proved that he's not a horrible starting point guard potentially. So they're in a good spot, honestly. They're a contender. They're probably in the outside of the top 3, but they're probably a contender. All right, looking at Flint now. They have a lot of cap room, but they also had pretty solid progs. Luke Ross continuing to be one of the best contracts in the league. Progs weren't horrible for them. They weren't beautiful either. They did hurt them a little bit with their starters from last year, OJ Mayo and Stewart, but they really didn't hurt them that bad. If I was Flint, I'd be very happy with these progs because they now have probably one of the better young teams in the league, and you can build on a guy like Trevin Smith pretty well. Last year, he played in just 51 games, only started 2 games, but he has potential to be a marksman from deep and a potential superstar. Abdul is a very cheap, high-quality starting big man now. I'm a big fan of Autry at the wing. Ross is, of course, a great contract this season. I honestly almost want to say go all in with this. Like, you have the assets to move to go get stars. You have affordable stars that or quality starters right here, right? I'll highlight the affordable starters. They should not touch these guys at all. I wouldn't touch Trevin. I'd build around Trevin and probably Artest there. But, like, You move Mayo, Stewart, some picks, a couple of the prospects. Maybe you even move Byron Fournette. I'm not a big fan of his build. Maybe James King. A bad team might want King. He can put up stats. But either way, I'm telling you, Flint should go all in this year. I think they could win it. With that cap room they got, go out, get Bostain in free agency, make some trades. You could be looking at maybe they pick up Cottrell Ellis. That wouldn't be a bad move, considering. We'll take a look for some other stars that could be on the move, but Flint should be one of the number one teams making moves. All right, next up here, Hawaii. Danili Progs down. Griner Progs down. Penetrato Progs down. But honestly, they're probably going to have a better season than they did last year. Maybe. I feel so bad for this team. It's gone through the ringer. Progs killed their bench. We'll see what G-Man does. I just feel bad for this team. Aubrey Powers looks like he actually might be fairly decent. Last season he was kind of solid. We'll see how he is this year, but he could have put some serious stats. Nick Jacobs is probably gone. Nick Jacobs wouldn't be a bad pickup for Flint. I'm just saying. You say Nick Jacobs and Howell over for like a first or second? I'd see that as a win-win. Yeah, maybe even throw in Aubrey Powers or Zion. We'll see. All right, Houston here. Yeager becomes a borderline superstar. That's kind of crazy. He's entering a contract year, and he's going to be paid. Yao Ming, this team is big. Very big. Merritt Prog's down, which is unfortunate. And really, a lot of this team Prog's down. But James Jones Prog's up. Lovedale Prog's up. Ball, I have to add to the Ball family. Prog's up a little bit. But Yeager's the real one. So, yeah. Houston, meh, Progs. They are cap room. Don't know if they want to spend it. They're kind of in an in-between spot. Jacksonville. So it looks like they got great Progs, but are not in a contending spot. Troy Neptune, third. I think he's actually going to put up good stats this year. They're replacing Bodio up front, and I like the additions of Chauncey Short. Cody Cumberland got good Progs. Mike Carey got great Progs. Lofton looks like he might have one of the better deals. Maybe look at for him to move to a contender. And Carl Robinson might be their superstar going forward. I think he's a little big to be a small forward. At least he plays bigger than that. He's a pretty solid player. We'll see where he go, what he does for them. But I think it's going to be good. Jackie Moon, I think he has fairly decent scoring potential on their team. He scored 10 points last season. I think he could match that this year. We'll see. And Hoang Dong going down pretty rough. Tiger Fleecer goes up. Other Fleecer goes down. Yeah. I guess spare the rod, spoil the child, or whatever occurred. I think that's the expression, right? I'm not really positive. All right. Next up, Kansas City. Their dynamic duo of playmakers both prog up. That's huge. This team is kind of in like a rebuilding state where they have some meh contracts. They overperformed expectations last year. They have some decent picks. And frankly, they have some quality stars. If I was this team, I'd be happy long term. In terms of young guys, Progs did not favor their bench at all. They killed it. Pretty hardcore. But again, starters, they gotta be happy with that duo. Those guys could also be major trade candidates because they're both on pretty solid deals. Yeah. That being said, Kmart probably going to get cut. I don't even think he's going to make it to the start of the season. His time in Kansas City is probably over. He wasn't bad, but he's gone. Yeah. Overpaid. He reminds me a lot of Terrence Foster. Terrence Foster was actually another wing who was known for being explosive when he was with Cincinnati, and by the time he got around to Kansas City, his legs were shot, and Kmart is kind of looking like this guy who played like he was a power forward as a guard because he was strong, and now that he's in Kansas City, he's not really strong anymore and not able to do that small ball routine. So, all right, next up here we go to Kentucky. Wow. Axel Blaze just a 71, but Tyler O'Grady and Guillen become superstars. That's a big 3, at least for a year or two. Then it's a big 2. But man, the bench. Thin. Cedric Hurd got pretty good progs. Yeah, your superstars went up. They're happy. That's about it for that team. KwaZulu, probably in the playoffs. 67 team rating. Highest in franchise history. Brianna Stewart goes up. But all of their major acquisitions, all 6 of them go down. That's kind of crazy. Literally, all 6. That is something only Goose could get. All 6 of his acquisitions went down. That being said, Wayne Allen, Reggie Goose, both going up is pretty good for him. And I don't think they're in that bad a spot. And in fact, I think they're a playoff team. And if they aren't, they have a lot of tradable assets that could be combined in different combinations to go after various things. So, yeah. If I was him, I would experiment potentially with a very big team. Potentially Taurasi, Manners backcourt. That would be fun. Novak small forward or James small forward. Gilmore. They have a lot of options here. It's going to be a fun team to see how they play lineup-wise. They can do a lot of different things. All right. Next up here. Let me just check. Las Vegas. Cole is back. Maybe he'll even be a mod. We'll see. And Progs, they helped him out. Honestly, Chris Powers. Wow. His career just got completely saved. Oh, he's the small guard. Oh, wow. He's going to be... Shoot. He's going to be a marksman this season. He shot 48 last year and he went up 10. Oh, my God. That's kind of crazy. I will note, I have to real quickly fix his brother before I forget. 678. All right. Oh. 678 is his brother. All right. And he is 6083. Cool. All right. Next up here, we'll just take a look at their bench. Richardson goes up. DeSavier goes up. Wow, they actually had really good progs. Wait. This guy was memed for how low overall he was. Oh my God. What is the odds? A guy who is a 42-44 at 27 and refused to sign with the team was given the insult to injury. He has progged up 10 over the course of 4 years and is now a starting caliber guard. That's crazy BBGM stuff. All right. Next up, London. The main question, Nick Jordan, does not go up. He might not become as good as they think. We'll see what happens with points. Higgins goes up. Schrute goes down. They're probably going to be on the outside of the playoffs again. It's a little disappointing, honestly. Epithet goes up, maybe saving his career. We'll see. This team has a lot of big, really dominant defensive potential players. We'll see what goes on here. I'll be honest. I'm a fan of this squad. I think Nick Jordan might finally get his shit together this season because he'll probably be after Progs like a 56. We'll see. Next up here, Los Angeles Defenders. Light 2 is the superstar of Los Angeles. While Fred Taylor goes down, Light 2 might be on the outside of this the MVP race here. He had a 21-8-2 season last year. That might go up a bit this season. And he has a solid team. They're probably not going to be in the playoffs, or they're going to be right on the border, but Light 2 is going to put up some crazy stats. Speaking of stats, Melbourne. David McGillen goes down to an 82. He is still a beast, but he is showing his age. In terms of the team they got around him, it's competent. It's not great, but it's competent. It's pretty deep. But that's about it. Sam Morris is he has gone down drastically. Rajali has gone down drastically. Wow, honestly, these bench progs were pretty rough to them. Will not lie. But yeah, LaMelo even going down. McGillen, he's probably going to have to put up 40 points for this team to be a contender. I don't know if he can do it. He hasn't put up 40 points consistently in his career. With only really 4 years where you could say he put up 40 points. And he's going to have to do it again. And honestly, I think there's a legitimate chance that the man of 1,000 brothers might not get there. So we'll see. All right. And by get there, I mean MVP. I think it might go to Charlotte. Specifically Gordon Hayward. All right. Bruno Kendrick down 5. Oh, that's brutal. They finally get a big man, but their vets go down. I want to see Bruno Kendrick and AI win one. They're a good team. They're probably in the playoffs this year. You know, Kendrick's probably going to break 10 assists again this year, but he had his worst season since his rookie year. We'll see. I like Kendrick. I hate to see that he's going to start going downhill at 32. I don't think he got close enough to the assist record in his prime. He'll probably need to stay like a 55 plus for a while to have a chance. We'll see. In terms of the rest of the team, these are fine progs. They're a fine team. They're not great. Joe Collins might actually have a pretty big season for them scoring-wise. He could be like that underrated X factor. They could have a small ball team with AI and Collins each putting up 20-plus points, Sparks 20-plus points, and Sparks like a 14-rebound season because that could be a small ball team. We'll see. Miami. Reggie Reed's going to be out all year, and they got pretty bad progs. McPherson Thompson might not start for the first time in his tenure in Miami. At 37, he's finally starting to decline. I think he's second in career blocks, third in career rebounds, in the top 5 in points. Dude's a legend. He's played since the mid-2020s, one of the longest tenured players in ABA history. Always played with Miami, multi-time All-Star, borderline MVP candidate some seasons, and consistent 20-10 guy. So we'll see what goes on with him. And this team just had bad progs, but they're rebuilding. We could have another McGillen coming. We'll see. Royals progs up pretty good. Peters probably put up some decent stats. Yeah, they're not a playoff team. Yeah. I imagine they'll move Prudence Courtney this season. He has a lot of value for a contender. Could be a solid guard for one. Guards are always kind of hard to find late season, so we'll see. Milwaukee, Dweez Burleson going to have another big season, I think, with them. They took probably some of the worst losses in free agency, and progs were not a fan. Adam McGillen probably should be moved. Ziegler as well, if you can even get stuff for him. What you could get for Adam McGillen, though, you could get a lot. Like, Flint. Adam McGillen might be the best person you can get in this situation. You can pick up some quality vets. Like, you can get Dweez as well. And still have cap room. I'd say Dweez and McGillen should be the way you'd go. I don't think any further makes sense with this team. But, yeah, I'd offer like 3 firsts for Adam McGillen. And I don't see either way it would hurt either team. Anyway, Minnesota. Prog Gods probably knocked Sawyer's chance of winning MVP this season off there. Raja Bell goes up and Rushina. They're probably back in the playoffs. They missed it somehow last season. Depth is not a thing, but we'll see. Rushina was a pretty nice pickup for them. They need a big man, and I think he's going to put up some stats this year. So he always has put up pretty crazy rebounding stats when given the chance. Montreal. All right. Josh Jones and Flora go down. Lane, Engelman both go up. Ferguson up. Drayden's quality back up. Marita's not too bad. Those are good progs for Marita. Bobby White's basically out of the league. That's kind of insane. Yeah, he's probably out. Brett Anderson's a complete bust. So is Walrus. Warford, too. Warford, I thought, he started his career so promising and has just completely fallen off. He's like the Marvin Williams of ABA. Yeah, all right. The Americans, Mike Scott, just stuck at 70 overall, has not changed in like 3 years. And a team that was fairly solid last year, just declining. They're going to be borderline playoff again. No major moves were made. We'll see if they can do anything, but doubtful. New York Nets. Obviously, they lost 40, and that is a rough hit. I think he went to Singapore. We'll see Singapore later. Jordan Rudolph. He is going to maybe be an MVP candidate here. So he signed for a while, right? 76 rebound, 64 passing, incredibly high percentage scorer. Yeah. If I am them, I might even... Honestly, he might put up MVP stats without 40 there. They just need a passer. I'm trying to think. Pretice Courtney would be a nice pickup for the Nets. They have the cap room. Pretice Courtney for 2 seconds? That wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I definitely look into doing that. Philly. Also, just want to go back there. Potentially Penetrator. He could be a really good sixth man for this team. All right. Philadelphia. Hawkins goes up. Hawkins might be in the MVP window here. This man just gets better and better every single season. Like, seriously. He averaged 30 points when he was with Kansas City last year. And the year before, he was just out of the MVP race. This might be his year. Hawkins might be MVP at 33. It's crazy because he's the same age as McGillen. He might have usurped McGillen over time. Yeah, this is a team that's so much built around him too. They just need a passer as well. So, I almost want to say it. Go out, get Pretice Courtney. Somebody's got to be on him. Like, he is such a good contract for these teams. So, we'll see what goes on there. Pittsburgh. Isaac Parks. He's going to feast, man. He is going to score the hell out of the basketball. They should switch dial back to guard forward. Michael Jordan's in the shitter here. And John Stoll is probably going to go down as one of the worst players in recent memory. They need to go get some guards, but Isaac Parks is going to put up some crazy stats this season. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's watch Isaac Parks single-handedly bring Pittsburgh back to relevance. Providence, meanwhile. KG stays the same. Oh, Ricky Ring season might be in real effect here. Kyle Armstrong up big. Gino up. Gosselin up. Korver goes down. That's rough. That's a little hurtful right there. Ellis goes up. Ricky had good progs. Ricky definitely had good progs. Ricky can make some moves off this. He has guards. We've seen a bunch of teams that are looking for guards already. He happens to have 2 contracts on his bench that aren't good for him. But if he could trade them for some of their depth guys, Ricky would be in a real good spot. So we'll see what Ricky does there. Rio de Janeiro. Umberto might be an MVP candidate here. Bajorn also saving his career. But Mikan and Nicholas going down. This is probably a team that's going to trade some of these assets. I almost want to say trade Umberto because he could be a great superstar for some team. And they could probably get one of the largest hauls we've ever seen for him. And you don't normally get that opportunity with a guy that it doesn't put up that much stats. I mean, 19 points, 7 assists, not even 2 steals a game. He shoots a high percentage from 3, but he's not even a high volume 3 shooter. So we'll see. Next up here, San Diego. San Diego made some moves. I liked a lot of their moves. I thought they won a lot of their moves. They won the Moore trade, in my opinion. Goran Clark goes up pretty big. That pays off for them. Covington's going to be a quality starter, but Gogan going down is rough. Yeah, they got pretty hard on their bench. Honestly, I'm not unhappy with these Progs if I'm them, just not thrilled. They're probably borderline playoffs. We'll see what goes on there. Seattle. Dante just continuing not to go anywhere. Jolly Green goings down. TJ goes down. Yeah, Seattle's probably a borderline playoff this season. That's rough. They have some cap, though. They could be another player for trades. We'll see. Singapore. Alex Moore goes up. This is kind of weird. They're a 50 team rating, but I do not feel like they're a 50 team rating. They have legit big 3. Connie Hawkins had good progs, progging up 4. Dylan Foster, honestly, they had really solid progs. I know they're going to start Corona Everest probably at center. He didn't have that bad progs. Just saying, he went up. It's, not too bad. Just saying. Yeah. They got $1 million. They're going to want to look at those cheap free agents here, bring in some depth. But Alex Moore has proven he can carry a team. This is a cap-heavy team, but not a good cap-heavy team. All right, Snohomish. Progs did not favor the big three. Yeah. So, looking at trade candidates here, David Manning is probably traded. Chris Paul probably is traded. If they can trade Chris Paul's contract, Tanner might actually be worth keeping. I'm a big fan of that Tanner contract, to be entirely honest. And in terms of their bench, not too bad progs here. Yeah. Didn't destroy their value, but we'll see. Syracuse. Matt Bonner, no. I actually was looking it up, and he might be mathematically the best three-point shooter in ABA history. But John Lee continues to go down. He's probably traded. I can't imagine they keep him around on that deal. Especially because I feel like there's teams that would probably want a defensive guard at $36 million and would be willing to give up a bad contract to get him. So we'll see. Stonkus, Prog's down. Irvin Miles, Prog's down. I like this Syracuse team. I like a lot of players on it. I just don't think they're in the cards this year. Tampa Bay. Boz continues to be a star. I am sure that New Jersey is killing themselves for letting him go. Brick Wennington has bad progs, probably giving Gardner the title of Rookie of the Year. We'll see on that. Chris Paul Jr. is solid-ish for them. They're probably borderline playoff here, but we'll see the numbers that Steve Nash can put up as the third guard. This is like a hybrid small ball team. I could also see Aaron Fox potentially being moved because that contract is now meh. It's not horrid. It's just meh. And as a potential forward that could start for some teams, we'll see. All right, Tijuana. They got $40 million here. They're another major player in free agency. Progs weren't unfavorable to them. They're probably one of my favorites to win the league this year. It wasn't great for their dual big men, but they just need some wings, and they're in business. Smart and Alexander had great progs. Austin Hicks is a borderline superstar in the making here, so we'll see. Tokyo. Jordan Smith progs up big time. Ziga. Dude averaged 15 points as a rookie and got no love. He is not going to let that stand, and he is going to be a force this year. That is exciting. Jalen Weir stays the same. They had great progs, actually. Nenny progs up. Ty Gobert progs down. It's a little disappointing. But yeah, they had great progs. If I were Tokyo, I'd be hyped. Next up, Utah here. Spider. I don't know. These contracts are rough. Chris Kamen's still starting for them, though. He's actually had like one of the longest tenured careers with a team, having played for Utah for ages now. Always averaged 10 points. Was a double-double machine for a while. I don't know. Pretty cool. I like that. We'll see. And next up here is Vancouver. They're probably a playoff team, but probably not top seed. Yeah, that's kind of where I got them. They got cap room, though, and Gino's a good GM, so we'll see. Virginia, yeah. They're not in the playoffs this year. But hey, they got some juicy prospects, maybe. Maybe. Very much a maybe. Yeah, Kodov continuing to be probably the most overpaid player in league history. Dude's been paid $243 million. That's 66% of the highest paid player ever. He averages a career 6.3 points. Never more than 8.9 in a season. 2 seasons with that. Let's see. Career earned win average of 3. He's paid almost $100 million per win. Yeah, I'm telling you, when I say literally the mathematical worst, I am not kidding. Aside from steals, which he provided for a few seasons, he's an absolute scrub. Somebody overpay him this offseason to keep the meme going. All right. Washington. Did Light save his career? Kinda. Wally Craig goes down, though, so Washington's now in a rough spot. I could see them moving light. He briefly coming back to having the green value to trade him. Josh Howard is having a great career for them, along with Spud Webb. Yeah, Washington's kind of in the start of a rebuild here. They got some decent progs. Anyway, guys. Yeah, with that, I will export. And, trade away. I'm gonna put it out real quick. Alright, guys. Peace. Have a good one. See ya.